and welcome to Channel 15 Cedar Falls City News, your source for local news in Cedar Falls. I'm Shelby Gappa. The Cedar Falls Fire Department has received a new, much-anticipated ISO rating. Information Service Office examines each of Iowa's more than 1,600 departments and assigns a rating based on their level of service.
ISO, or Insurance Service Office, rates fire protection in communities across the country. ISO collects data from more than 41,000 fire districts across the United States and assigns a public protection classification for each community.
The ISO is a reflection of the fire department's ability to respond to an emergency in the community.
Class 1 represents the highest rating of fire protection, and Class 10 indicates that the area's fire suppression program does not meet ISO's minimum criteria. In 2019, Cedar Falls received a Class 3 ISO rating, placing the department in the top 3.5% of fire districts in Iowa, and among the best in the country.
It's a great rating. It puts us in elite status, gives us recognition for the work that we continue to do, and in the future we continue to work towards maintaining that 3 and moving forward.
Historically, Cedar Falls has maintained an ISO rating of 4 or better for the past several decades. That rating went to a 3 in 2011, and with this designation of an ISO 3 rating, Cedar Falls stays well above the national average ISO, which is a 5. ISO recognizes public safety officers as fire staff, counting each PSO at 50% because of their dual roles in fire and police.
They give you points for those public safety officers, so they recognize the public safety model, and you get additional points for having those public safety officers.
When a public safety officer transfers to the fire station for primary duties, they are measured at 100%.
It gives us a greater response dynamic than we've ever had in the past. We've really noticed a tremendous difference where we're seeing numbers well over double digits and in almost to 20 and 30 people responding to fire incidents in Cedar Falls.
To get a city's fire ISO rating, ISO looks at the city's fire protection efforts as a whole, including physical attributes, like the placement of fire hydrants and other data, such as how efficient the emergency dispatch team is, as well as the city's water supply. The ISO ratings are achieved by information from 3 categories. 50% of the city's fire rating is determined by fire department training, response, and equipment. The type and extent of training, the number of people participating in training, firefighter response to emergencies, and maintenance and testing of department's equipment.
Some of the things that brought us up to a 3 and maintaining us at a 3, we added an extra pumper. That added some extra firefighting ability for our community. We added public safety officers. The number of public safety officers that we have and the amount of training that we've given them has created an opportunity for us to bump up the amount of personnel that we have available. That provides more protection to our community. We did a lot more training. Some of that was live fire training. We had nearly 900 hours of live fire training last year. And additionally, we did a lot of other training opportunities for various emergency responses, whether it was simply fire, or we also broadened that into river rescue, rope rescue, emergency medical. All of those types of things are part of our training scenario that we continue to monitor.
40% of the ISO rating is determined by the water supply, including the distance between hydrants and how adequate the water supply is in the community for fighting fires.
One of the things that ISO wanted to make sure of is that we were maintaining that water pressure and the ability to fight fires with water throughout the community. We worked with CFU to ensure that the testing was done on time, that we had documentation to provide, and ensured that our citizens were well protected.
The remaining 10% is determined by fire communications, including how well the fire department receives fire alarms, as well as the dispatch of firefighting resources. Cedar Falls fire calls come into the Black Hawk County Consolidated Communications Center and have since 1995.
Communications is vital for the fire department and for any emergency agency. The 911 Dispatch Center is a consolidated dispatch that operates and manages fire communications, police communications throughout the county.
The average that we shoot for is to have our 911 calls answered within 10 seconds. And on average, we maintain that over 90% of the time. But our goal is to get the information, the address, the type of the call, and get it queued so that whoever's going to send the response can get them going quickly while we try to gather more information from the reporting party.
They do a great job by getting that information out to us very quickly, getting it to us and having the whole information to us within a minute or so helps us to minimize damage and be able to mitigate incidents, whether it's law enforcement, fire, or medical calls.
Public safety leaders are pleased to receive the ISO 3 rating and see it as a reflection of the ongoing focus on training and professionalism within the department.
We've had some great successes with more individuals responding to both police and fire calls than we've ever had in the history of the city. But what's really encouraging is when you have an independent company like the ISO come in and analyze what you're doing and give you as good a grade, that 3 level that we just received. It kind of reaffirms that what you're doing is the right thing.
Public safety leaders continue to see this as a reflection of their focus on providing high-quality professionalism and service to the people of Cedar Falls, protecting lives and property.
Our fire department is very high quality. We're able to respond quickly and safely to our citizens' needs.
With this new ISO 3 rating, Cedar Falls Fire is among the best in the state, as only 3.5% of all fire departments are rated at the ISO 3 rating or better. One of the things that plays a big part in the ISO rating is the training of firefighters and public safety officers. Cedar Falls public safety officers have a valuable tool available to help assist on fire calls before the fire trucks arrive.
The Cedar Falls Public Safety Department is using a unique tool to assist with fires. The compressed air foam system is a tool designed to put out smaller fires. Cedar Falls has been using the CAF system to assist with smaller fires since 2015.
We have 3 CAF systems, and the design of those was derived from the fact that police cars frequently arrive at the fire scenes first, sometimes 2-3 minutes ahead of time. And if we can get a jump start at some of those fires, you can either put them out or slow them down significantly until the fire trucks arrive. They're a 30-gallon tank. They hold 30 gallons of water, and then there's a foam component put in there. And that foam component is equivalent to what they say 10 times the water amount. So if you have 30 gallons of water, you put the foam in there, you have about 300 gallons of water equivalent.
The department already carries around fire extinguishers, but they feel the extinguishers alone aren't enough.
For years we've been using fire extinguishers that are really they're short-lived, they do their job, but they just don't last as long as you can operate with this system. But you know, to be able to not only get 50 feet from the vehicle, but then on top of that be able to spray, you know, a good 50 plus feet on top of that, it puts out a pretty large fire.
Here's how the compressed air foam, or CAF system, works.
The system's real simple to use. You remove the cap here from the cylinder. You open up this valve, which pushes about 22 pounds of pressure into this tank, which runs down to a hose. You open the master switch, and it all fills up to this tank. From here, all you gotta do is take the nozzle out, start engaging the fire. This is a 50-foot hose. When you get to about 49 feet, the last foot pulls open a valve, which causes this to fill up with the water and foam. You just open the valve or open the nozzle in this direction, pointing at the fire, and put the fire out.
The compressed air foam isn't capable of extinguishing large fires, but it works well for smaller fires and can knock down flames at an entry point.
I want to tell you a story. It includes the firefighters, the public safety officers, and the use of this CAF system. A couple of years ago, we had a fire, and it was a mobile home fire. And we had 2 public safety officers in training that responded to that mobile home fire. They immediately identified that there was 3 people in that home, 2 kids on one end and a mother on another end, all in the bedrooms. The fire was right at the doorway, right off the deck going into the building. They had one of these units with them. They immediately sprayed it till the system ran out and knocked that fire down considerably in that doorway. The fire trucks arrived at that time. They immediately relayed the information of where those 3 individuals were in the house, the 2 kids and the mom. The firefighters were able to, they had their gear on, they put them on, they went in immediately and rescued those kids. The fire battalion chief in charge of that scene said that day, he said if it wasn't for the combination of public safety officers, this technology, this CAF system, and the firefighters arriving and being able to go into the building immediately without drawing a hose line and putting it out and taking it with them, the outcome of that call could have been significantly different. It's a combination of teamwork. It's police officers and firefighters and technology and cross-training and everybody working together to save property and lives.
And that's all for this episode of Channel 15 City News. I'm Shelby Gappa, and thanks for watching.